Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm Eugene Kaspersky. And every time when I start such kind of presentation, I say I'm Eugene Kaspersky, and working for the company which by coincidence has the same name. Discussing the problems, explain our view on the existing situation and the future. And this is the main topic of my presentation, and I'm going to start. Well, computers are everywhere. How many computers do you use in your life? You don't know. You don't know how many computers you have in your car. You don't know how many computers manage your train, if you use train to get to New York. You don't know how many computers manage the elevators in this hotel. Everything is digital, everything is online. Entertainment. It's digital. Oh, well, except poker in Las Vegas. But in Las Vegas, poker is under the control of cameras, which are for sure digital and reported to the digital systems. How many times did you open the paper printed encyclopedia last year? 0. How many times did you open Wikipedia or WikiLeaks? Sorry. That's WikiLeaks. Usually I say that please don't publish so much information at the end of Friday, because Secret Services, they are humans too. They have families and they want to have weekends. Social lives. How many people here in the room, they have more than five or more accounts in social networks? Well, I'm talking to journalists, okay. But when I'm in a business audience and I have a speech to students in universities, if someone raises the hand, I ask security to catch the person and to write down the name, to report that to the employee or to the professor. If you are in 5 social networks, do you have time to sleep? Usually no. And well, especially students, crazy. I don't understand how the students now, they don't have time to live, because when I was a student, I had to split my life into 2 pieces, education and girls. Now it's education, internet, and girls. It's crazy. The private life, of course. The problem is that many people, they mix private and social life. And this is also a very serious security issue, but it's a little bit outside of our mainstream. But talking about social networks and private information, I think that there have to be more government control and regulation on social networks. Because so many people publish a lot. So many criminals, including traditional criminals, they use social networks for the very bad things. And revolutions, they're also managed by social networks. Like in New York, am I right? Next, businesses, okay. Do you have any idea about business which doesn't have computers, which don't have access to the internet? Every business must pay taxes. That's it. So only businesses which don't pay taxes can be internet free. So every legal business is connected. Governments. It's another issue. Governments want to be online. And a very serious problem is that new generation won't be 100% online. And if we don't have internet government or online government, if we don't have internet voting, new generations, kids, they will never go to election office. If there is no online service, they will never go to vote. If we don't have secure online voting, internet passports. That will be the end of democracy. Well, this is also a very special topic, and maybe we will discuss it later. Industrial systems. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the reality is, yes, all these systems, they're not online, but it's possible to bring USB. So they are partly online. And unfortunately, it's a very, very, very big danger. And I have some examples what's already happened because of the security issues with the industrial systems. So, everything is online, and unfortunately, everyone, every business, every person is under their attack. There are so many targets: individuals, governments, businesses, and there are three main sources of these attacks. The first source is, well, not so serious, of course. That's just script kiddies, vandals. Still, there are kids which develop malware just for fun, like in the past. But less and less and less kids do that because they don't have time. They play computer games. And in the past, the kids, they were presenting themselves. They were made themselves proud because they wrote a supercomputer virus. Not anymore. They play computer games and they develop, they grow superheroes in computer games. But hacktivists, which are also some kind of vandals, is it the difference between people who, the gangs which crash the shops on the streets, or people which do the same in the internet? That's almost no difference. Same motivation, they protest, but people in the internet, they don't really understand that they do almost the same things. The second source, cybercriminals. Well, I don't need to explain what the cybercrime is and who the cybercriminals are. Just read police reports and the stories, investigations, arrests, sometimes pictures. And the third source, that's organizations, governments, or individuals which attack internet in a very different way, with a cyber weapon, with distributed DDoS attacks, or which develop spying software to steal critical information. And unfortunately, we have more and more reports about that. So, the online crime. It's a little bit about online crime. First of all, it's global. It's not just Chinese cyber criminals. It's not only Russian cyber criminals. It's global. Of course, there are more cyber criminals in China, in Russia, in Latin America than in Europe, than in the United States. But if you look at these faces, these pictures, you can find very different faces. China, Algeria maybe, United States, Israel, I don't remember, Russian, American, I don't remember two Russians. It's everywhere. Computers are everywhere, internet is everywhere, except Antarctic. I was there, I checked, there was almost no internet. So maybe Antarctic is only one region free of cybercrime. But the rest is, it's everywhere. Unfortunately, it's very effective. It's possible to stop the country with the help of malware. It's organized. It's a very, very, very old screenshot, but I like it. Because it's a part of the business. It's a gang which develops botnets and trades these botnets. So and actually this is price list. I understand you can't see that, just trust me. So this is a price list. How many bots you want to use, how many days you want to use these botnets. There's an ICQ number for technical support. There's something about discounts if you buy the service 2 or 3 or more times. Terms of service. That's a business. And I call it, there's a B2C, business to customers, B2B, business to business. I call it C2C, criminals to criminals. Because that's organized world. It's a huge well-organized world with a lot of money in there. And it's very profitable. This is a picture, it's a result of illegal street race in Moscow. So this picture of Moscow, believe me, Moscow doesn't look like this every day. So there are a couple of cyber criminals, Russian cyber criminals. They were in the car. It's a new BMW 7, and one of them dead in this incident, and he was 19 years old. 19 years old boy driving new BMW. They have a lot of money. How many people here drive BMW 7? One. Unfortunately, these guys, they have much more money than software engineers and than IT security software engineers. This is the answer to the question. If cyber criminals looking for the job in your company, never. Because they have much more money, unfortunately. And it's easy to do because it's just a software internet. They don't need to invest too much, and they don't have a physical contact with victims. That makes the life of cyber criminals very easy. And that's low risk. If they have enough of brain, they can do it in such a way that's very, very, very difficult to find them, to trace them. They attack from different countries using proxy servers, and in some cases they don't attack victims in their own country. They don't want local police to have calls from local victims. Some of these guys are extremely clever, and still we don't know the names of criminals which were responsible for some kinds of very big attacks like Configure or Kido attack in the past with a 10 million infected proxy services. Still, I don't know the name. They were very professional people. So, it's a global, it's very effective, organized, profitable, easy to do, no risk. Of course, there will be more and more and more cyber criminals. And also keep in mind that there are more and more internet users from very poor countries. And we live in the same territory, in the same city, on the same streets. So, I don't know how much money we'll lose because of that. Because cyber criminals, they don't report their financial figures. Do we have someone here from Gartner? If I remember correctly, there was I remember the name from Gartner here. I'm sure they don't have reports from cybercrime gangs. But we tried to count to approximate their financial impact, and we had a number, $100 billion, and this is only from a cybercrime based on the malware. Spam, credit cards, trading counterfeit stuff, it's not counted. Only the cybercrime business, which is based on the malware, costs global economy at least $100 billion a year. So if it's 500 billions, all cybercrime, I'm not surprised. And compare that with the disaster in Japan. They said that it's about $300 billion impact. So every year we have at least one tsunami impact on a global economy. Unfortunately, it's not the end of my story. It's not a question. It's an answer. Of course, yes. Because we have some examples of the catastrophes, of the very big disasters, because of their misfunction of IT systems. I think all of you remember the blackout in 2003. And the same day, the same time, there was an epidemic of blaster worm, which infected millions of computers around the globe. And we have reports that the worm damaged Unix systems which were in charge of electricity distribution through the electric power grid. one of the reasons, maybe the main reason of the blackout in United States and Canada East Coast in 2003. I don't have any hard data about that, but I'm pretty sure that it could not happen without the war, because it was the main reason. Another story, I think that you didn't hear about that because it happened in August, vacation time, so it wasn't out of the focus of our attention. In August 2008, the Spanish plane, just after the takeoff from Barajas airport in Madrid, crashed. And there were more than 150 people dead in this catastrophe. And last year they reported their result of investigation. They said the plane crashed because of technical problems. But these technical problems, they were not found, they were not discovered by engineers, ground-based engineers, because the computers were infected. So the malware blocked computers, and the technical problems, they were not reported to the engineers. So the virus, the infection, the malware, it wasn't the reason of this catastrophe, but it could not happen without infection. More, Stuxnet. I think I don't need to explain that. I think that all or most of people who are responsible for security, IT security, and their national security, working with transportation, industrial systems, factories, governments, they are really scared. Because unfortunately, all these systems, they depend on IT. So this is the scenario. This is their facts, which already happened. And the question is, this year, next year, do we expect to see similar incidents? Yes or no?
Yes.
The answer is very obvious. Of course, yes. It will happen. Because there is not 100% security. And unfortunately, the systems which are designed years back, and people which are not trained well, just a few stories. Well, this is quite an old story, but for sure it will happen again. Now it's fixed, don't worry, now this problem is fixed. But in 2008, they reported that cockpit systems, the pilot systems, they were connected to the passenger network. When I got this news, I was sitting with open mouth, reading that, said, how could they design that? And then the lawyer in my company came to my room with reporting or something, I don't remember what, and I said, listen, there's a new plane from Boeing. They have a network, the pilot's network, connected to the passenger network. And my lawyer said, it's not possible. But unfortunately, it's possible. It was, well, now it's fixed. But, for sure, people are people. Engineers are engineers, and engineers, unfortunately, they're humans too. They made mistakes. And this is a kind of that. It's another story. It's a little bit more serious. Maybe the military drones, which didn't have encrypted traffic. And that was possible to intercept the drone and, for example, send it back. Or to change the target. Well, it's from the news. That's what I found in the news. And I'm not surprised. Because humans are humans. They design these systems in such a way. The nations are vulnerable. Unfortunately, even their national systems, sometimes they designed in such a way that they could be very easy victims of the hacker attack. Do you remember the movie, the Hollywood movie about cyber terrorism? Die Hard 4. Do you remember that? I recommend you to watch it again. Well, that's a Hollywood story. And in Hollywood stories, of course, is the half of the movie. Of course, it's bullshit. Only half. When Bruce Willis crashed their helicopter with a police car, that's not true, of course, it's not possible. But the rest, I'm afraid, just read the news very carefully. And you can find information which just explains that what we do, what is done in such a way that unfortunately, I don't sleep well sometimes after such a news. The result is, this is a list of companies which were hacked last year. If you don't see your company name in the list, please report us, we will add. Well, most of these names are Americans, of course, but there are many victims in Europe, in Asia, in Russia, maybe in China as well, but Chinese, they don't report that at all. Unfortunately, this list is much more longer. The companies simply don't report that. And maybe, well, it's another question. Do they need to report that or not? Some people say, of course, yes, because their customers have to know what's going on. There's another opinion. Don't ruin police investigation. It could be very dangerous for the police investigation. It's another question, it's another topic to discuss, and maybe we'll do it later. Well, there are more examples of how bad the situation is, and now it's a little bit more about governance, about national military forces involved in that. News from China. They said that they have so-called blue team forces, cyber military forces. The news from United States, the same. India, they plan to have it as well. NATO, joining their cyber weapons, cyber wars world. It's South Korea. Okay. What about North Korea? Yes or no? Do they have computers in North Korea? Yes, they have. And they also said that, well, actually, their reports, they also have the cyber military division. Germany, same plans. And all that looks like a very bad Hollywood story. When the man said that cyber weapon will be as dangerous as their traditional military weapons, and the result could be as bad as traditional weapons can do. And he was not kidding. That's reality. Unfortunately, that's the reality of this world. And can we stop that? What to do to minimize the risks, at least? And of course I have some ideas. First of all, the most serious, that's attacks on the industrial systems, transportation, electric power grid, what else? And I think that there must be much more serious government control on industrial systems. I call them all that industrial systems. The regulation, the standards, and penalties for engineers and companies which don't follow regulation. More secure design for industrial systems, including maybe new future secure operating systems. Because unfortunately, most of the existing systems, they are not secure at all. There must be new design, new ideas, new innovations in IT, in operating system development. And these systems, which are much more secure and protected, must be used in a critical industrial systems. It's not possible to fix the problems only within the national borders. Unfortunately, what I see that leaders, national leaders, they are talking about national security only. But we live in the internet. Internet doesn't have borders. Unfortunately, it's not possible to fix the problem only on the national level. So this is, the only right way is international cooperation. Even if your country doesn't have a good enough relationship with others, some of others, you must establish it. We must talk about global IT security, internet security. Because if you have someone on the street which doesn't follow the regulation and there is no police to stop them, you are not protected. And cyber police is the next issue. To fight with international cybercrime, to fight with international cyber terrorism, we must have international cyber police forces. I call it Internet Interpol. The organization which is not under the national regulation, but only under international regulation, as a part of United Nations maybe, as a division in traditional Interpol, I don't know. But this is the only way to fight with the bad guys in the internet. Internet IDs to stop hooligans and to help police to fight with cyber criminals. And I'm talking about this Internet ID for many years. Maybe 10 years. 10 years ago, I said the first time I said that, okay, that would be a good idea if we have the Internet ID, and people were smiling on me. 5 years ago, they started to listen. 2 months ago, I was in China, and in Beijing airport, Wi-Fi is free. But to get access, to get a login and password, you need to have a passport, to get a special machine, to scan your passport, and then you have login and password. In Germany, they already issued some kind of internet identification card, and President of the United States, about half a year ago, said about plans to have the internet IDs for every American, to build a secure internet. But once again, it's not possible to fix the problem only on the national level. That must be international cooperation. And please have a look. Here is a minus, 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 and minus. Because we don't have it. We need them, but we don't have it. The only thing we have, that's technologies, that's products. So that's why it's here is plus. Unfortunately, we have many things to do, and I think it's not only the task for private companies or the task for the IT security industry. There must be international cooperation on the government level. Without that, I don't see there good future and a blue sky for next years. Unfortunately, we'll see much more very serious incidents, more cybercrime, more cyber terrorism attacks, and maybe cyber wars between some countries. And because we live in the internet, the cyber war somewhere far away from your country could reflect you as well. Because the internet is internet. There are no borders and there are no countries in there. So, we depend on IT. Our world, the systems, they are not designed in a secure way. we just entered their cyber wars era. So on the global cooperation, coordination, and better budgets on IT security is a solution for the problem. Thank you.